Golly, who's dropping by? Gail O'Rourke dropped by from Whitewood Kitchens. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So Whitewood Kitchens, what if I don't like whitewood?
That's okay because we sell all different color kitchens. It just happens to be white's the most trendy right now.
Oh, is it really?
It is.
Okay. What is that, like pickle?
Now there's pickle.
There's pickle finish?
Yeah, that's the 80s.
That's the green, no. Oh, that's the 80s, you can tell.
That is so 1989.
Well, at least it's closer to the 90s. Tell me about Whitewood Kitchens.
So Whitewood Kitchens is the second company I've owned. I opened it about 5 years ago, and we have 2 showrooms. We do kitchen design and project management, and they are on the Cape in Sandwich Inn in Falmouth.
Oh, okay. So the showrooms are in Sandwich and Falmouth.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's obviously it's kitchens, right? I mean, do you do anything else besides kitchens?
So Whitewood Kitchens does anything with a door and a drawer.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Anything with a door.
Or a drawer.
Or a drawer.
So it could be a built-in around the fireplace. It could be a dresser. It could be, well, we do lots of bathrooms and laundry rooms, walk-in pantries, but the bulk of our work really is in kitchens and then whole homes. So we'll go into someone's house and do the kitchen, the bathroom, the laundry room, the mud room.
Okay.
You know those fun lockers when you go into a house and you hang up your coats, we do those, and window seats. If it's got a door and a drawer, it's easier for us to make it than it is to be made in the field.
Okay. How did you get into this business?
So about 20 years ago, I answered an ad in the Old Colony Memorial in Plymouth for a shop assistant right here in Camelot Park in Plymouth. And I was hired, not
right
knowing
around
anything.
the corner from where we're filming.
Yes, yep. And I didn't know anything, and I was hired as really like a shop assistant, but I really called it an apprenticeship. And I learned there how to build cabinets.
So a shop like a wood shop,
a cabinet
metal shop. And at Camelot, which is actually an exit down. Okay.
Yeah.
An exit or 2 down, yeah.
So it was a cabinet shop owned by a builder.
So wait, you saw an ad in the Old Colony Memorial.
Yes, this is pre-internet ads.
Yep.
Yes.
And you said shop assistant. That's me.
That's what I said.
I hate to be sexist, but I would think that's kind of unusual for a woman.
So I went into that interview, and the reason I got the interview, I got the job from that interview, was that I have a math background.
Oh.
And cabinet making is math. They can teach you.
Actually, bad cabinet making is because of a lack of math skills, right?
Exactly. Because every single piece of every single cabinet is a formula to get to another formula to get to another formula. So the shop manager, the lead cabinet maker, wanted me to back up his math. So we'd go and we just would have worksheets of if this kitchen is going to start here, there's 15 formulas down to get to that one piece of wood that you have to cut, the very first piece of wood you have to cut. And then it's all math going back and forth. And that's how I got the job from my math background, Plymouth Public Schools.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a key skill.
Yeah.
I mean, how many houses have you been in where if you open the dishwasher, you can't have the refrigerator door open or something crazy like that because it just wasn't properly planned?
And that's just adding up inches, adding up eighths of an inch. So it's just taking all those numbers and adding them all up. It's like a puzzle. Yeah. Kitchen design is like a puzzle.
So how many years ago was it started?
Whitewood Kitchen started 5 years ago.
Okay. And I would imagine since this interview is airing in Plymouth and Pembroke and Duxbury and Kingston, that you occasionally come up here.
Oh, I do a lot because I live in Plymouth.
You live in Plymouth.
I live in Plymouth, so I do a lot of work in Plymouth.
I remember reading in the pre-interview questionnaire we sent out that you've been in Plymouth since you were a little one.
Since I was 3. My parents owned the open pantry, which was the original convenience store at JB's Corner right across from Bradford's Liquors.
Okay, sure.
And this was when there was no Stop and Shop in Plymouth. The closest one was Kingston. We lived in Manamet, and this was really it was a small mom and pop grocery store. And so they wore the red and white striped jackets. And I worked as a bagger and bagged groceries, and we knew everyone in town, you know, small town feel. But we were able to service the, you know, Chiltonville downtown with that grocery store.
I'm getting a real sense that one of your differentiators is your passion for customer service.
Absolutely.
That, you know, it was baked into you.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
sounds like it really does.
Right.
It comes across very much so. So what would, besides the attention to customer service, what would be something else that, you know, that makes you different?
Well, I think that what really makes me get out of bed every day is just solving problems. So I can walk.
She's a math brainiac. What can I say?
Right, right. So you walk into someone's house and they're in their kitchen and like something, the range is knocking into the dishwasher, or they don't have any counter space, or they have appliances all over the counter and they're not in the right location, or they have no
your brain
light.
just starts going like immediately.
A million miles an hour, and I think of all the solutions that we can find in that room, and then based on what they want, what they like, and what they can afford, we come up with the right plan for them. So it's kind of like a puzzle. So you're kind of taking all this information from different places and then spitting it back out in a way that people can understand it. And so that, what I bring to the table is a way for you to come to your kitchen design yourself. I'm just giving you the tools that you need to get there. So it's about educating them and providing them people with, you know, this idea. Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? How are you going to use the kitchen?
Because we don't
Who
even know what's
cooks?
possible. You know what's possible because you've probably done it dozens of times.
Exactly.
Or figured out that no, it's not possible. You might think it's possible, but it's not, and you know why.
Right, and I'm able to break down that communication barrier between sometimes builders who talk very technically and homeowners, and kind of give them digestible information and let them
Builders
sleep on it.
Builders are from Mars, homeowners are from Venus.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's really kind of connecting those two.
Yeah, that's
when
you're
he
a
says,
translator.
this is a load-bearing wall, they're like, so what?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Yeah, tell me something I care about.
Yeah, tell
That's
me,
so funny.
does that mean it's more money, or I can't do it, or it's kind of defining a little bit more.
Well, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for coming by.
No problem, thank you, appreciate it.
Stay tuned. There's more of the Plymouth Show after a brief break to thank our underwriters. I'm here with Charlotte and Ed Russell, representing Plimoth Cinema at Plymouth Plantation. Thanks so much for coming by.
You're welcome.
Well, I have to start by saying that we know each other because this is one of my favorite places to be in town. And my understanding is that you are both the founders of the cinema.
That's correct, yes.
Tell me more about that.
Well, many years ago, 10 to be exact, Ed and I loved going to art house cinemas, and we used to drive to Cambridge, and we'd drive out to the Cape to Nickelodeon, and then one day we realized, you know, the Plantation's theaters are dark every night and through the winter when it's off season. So we went to the Plantation and we asked two of the people that were there, working there at the time, could we possibly show cinema, art house cinema, at the Plantation? And they said, they went to the executive director and they said, yes, we'll try it for 8 weeks. So we had 8 weeks in which
8
we could
weeks.
do it. Yes, exactly.
So to go from no cinema to an 8-week cinema, keeping your fingers crossed, hoping it was going to work out.
But only 2 days a week in the beginning.
Okay.
And then we expanded it to 3 days a week. And then 7 days a week, twice a day, 4:30 and 7.
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary. I mean, whenever I'm surprised the number of people who aren't aware of the cinema, and
It's true.
if they've heard of it, they don't know that there's 2 screens. It's effectively, it's not, how many days a year is it open?
365.
365, literally. Okay, yep, there's that. And and two screens, 2 showings a day, with a third showing when the plantation exhibits are closed in the dead of winter, correct?
That's correct, 2 o'clock, yes.
Okay. And it's better than a regular cinema because there's real butter on the popcorn.
That's correct. Yes, absolutely.
So now it's one thing to have an idea, and it's another thing to make it happen. Right?
That's right. You're right. Yep.
So can you tell me about, how does one get films, get the equipment needed to run films? I mean, what was involved or what is involved?
Well, we were fortunate because all the equipment was there and running. We just needed to know how to do a cinema. And we were put in touch with the fellow that runs the Cape Cinema in Dennis, and he books for us, and he led us by the hand. He got the films for us, and he continues to be our booker now.
So there's a thing called a booker.
That's correct.
Who knew? So this is someone who arranges to have the film shown, delivered? Or
He talks to the distributor who has purchased the film from the filmmakers.
Okay.
And
It's like, how do the bottles of Coke end up at CVS shelves? I don't know, right? There's a
That's
few.
right. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So he curates the choices based on his gut feel, what he's seen at the cinema? Or?
For 25 years he's been doing it. He has a pretty good feel for what will fly with his demographic, which is pretty much the same as our demographic. And so he discusses them with Charlotte and I, and we go back and forth. We have to talk about the films that might not be playing, because who knows, they might turn out to be big films. So we talk about everything.
And he often previews them. He goes to see them.
So I know, because I've been a volunteer at the cinema for a while, I know that often the more popular films are held over, sometimes for 2 and 3 weeks even.
Right now, yes, we have one we've held for 3 weeks.
And so, there's a fluidity to the whole thing, so you don't know necessarily what film is going to be shown in 3 weeks, for example. You probably have something in that slot, but it could change. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And sometimes we don't know when a distributor will give us a film, because they have their own strategy about releasing films slowly. And they give them to the big theaters that will give them very respectable numbers for the first 3 weeks, which they then use to sell to everyone else. And if they include small cinemas like Plymouth, their averages aren't so good. So often, so there are strategies at the distributor level and strategies at the theater level.
It sounds very Cloak and Dagger-ish. So does Plymouth Cinema or any cinema, do they pay a certain rate per week of a run, or is it based on the number of attendees? How does the pricing work?
Percentage of gross.
Okay.
And that can range anything from 35% to 50%.
And does that include popcorn or just tickets?
Unfortunately, not.
Okay. No, fortunately not.
No, fortunately,
not for us,
you're
yes.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of like the bar and grill that has very cheap appetizer, and then, because they get you in there, they make their money on the liquor. That's why I push the popcorn so hard when I'm there. That's almost pure profit.
And then on Saturday nights, we have beer and wine.
Yes, yes. So that's date night. But even if you don't have a date, you can
have a glass of wine or a beer.
You can drown your sorrows.
Or a cup of coffee.
Oh, right. Coffee or tea and hot spiced apple cider.
In the winter.
And hot cocoa in the winter too. So those are nice. So you started this because you were really very selfish while being philanthropic.
You're absolutely right about that.
Best combination. I mean, could anything be better than that? You wanted, an art house theater in town, and boy, you just gave such an incredible gift to this community. I mean, I have spoken with many people that have said it is one of the reasons that they choose to stay in Plymouth is because of the cinema. It's a big draw.
And it also brings people to the plantation who might not come back all the time.
Yes,
It's a
that's
place for them to come.
Yeah. Well, we've learned so much, and there's a lot more to discuss. I'm hoping that you'll come back sometime, but we need to wrap it up.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for coming
you.
by.
Thank you.
I'm here with Timothy Veen from Real Angels Foundation. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me, Marilee.
So, longtime viewers know that I am a fan of great design, and I love that logo.
Thank you. I didn't do it myself. We had some help. Actually, my partner, my co-founder of the charity, Lisa Riley, who's a loan officer with Cape Cod 5, her daughter, who has some design savvy. She's also actually, she works for a nonprofit in New Hampshire. She came up with the design and also helped us with our website. So
That's so great.
she's been invaluable.
Wow. So, what does the foundation do?
Real Angels Foundation, we just founded it last year, and really the purpose of Real Angels Foundation is to mobilize local real estate professionals to identify and support local charities in our community.
Oh, great.
And so what we did when we first started, we came up with a list. Lisa, really...
Now wait, Lisa should be here is what I'm hearing.
Well,
it's all about Lisa. My team's here. I don't know.
She did a lot of the heavy lifting early on. But she, together, mostly her, came up with a list of about 25 or 30 charities here on the South Shore, which fit the sort of our mission, and that is to support local independent charities. So we went and we visited a number of charities. We sort of interviewed them. We asked some questions about, and we just tried to get a feel for the charity, maybe even though it wasn't our forte, how well they were run. And of course, their own mission was important to us. And we really didn't have any sort of set ideas of which types of charities we wanted to. We figured, well, we'd know it when we came across them.
Know it when we saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you winnow it down to a small list of charities that you now support?
Great question. Yeah, so we started with about 25 or 30 different charities. It was quite a process, and then we narrowed it down to about 10 to 12, and then 5, and then really we whittled it all the way down to 2 charities that we're supporting right now.
Oh, that's great. So you're really able to make a big impact with those 2.
That's what we're trying to do. We know as a new nonprofit, our funds at the beginning are going to be fairly limited, or smaller, but we just want to pick charities where we can really make a difference and an impact right away.
Yeah. So can I ask what 2 charities you've chosen?
Absolutely, I'm glad you did. We're supporting a charity in Marshfield called Magical Moon Farm, which provides support to children battling cancer and other life-threatening illnesses. And it's a really, really neat charity that it's actually a 5-acre farm in Marshfield that that provides sort of holistic support and treatment to kids battling these ailments. The other charity is a charity right here in Plymouth.
Yay!
Yay! Called Hydrea for Heroes, which is an amazing.
We've had them on the show.
Have you really?
Yeah,
Great,
yeah,
great.
But tell, in case some of the viewers haven't seen them.
Absolutely. Well, there are a lot of veterans charities. It's a charity for local veterans, supporting local veterans. And what makes Hydrea for Heroes unique is that they provide support to local veterans in ways that other veterans charities don't. For instance, they have a program called a Suit Up program, which donates suits to veterans about to embark on a job interview. And so it's
Yeah, you can't go to the VA system for that, you know. It's
cannot, nor would you want to.
But it's a real need.
It really is. And they're just, I mean, there's Hydrea does so much good work here in the Plymouth community. And I go back to our first visit when Lisa and I first visited Hydrea for Heroes. We met with Amy Belmore, who was the managing director, and she's quite an angel and doing amazing work, almost single-handedly, it seems at times, running that charity. And so we knew almost right away when we met with Amy that Hydrea for Heroes was going to be one of the first charity we would support.
Wow, that's really, really cool. Yeah. So help me understand how the funds, how you see, because again, you're pretty new, but how you see the funds flowing in. Will it be from events?
Great
Will
question.
It be from, other real estate related professionals? Because I know you have a real estate
school. I do.
And a law firm, right?
Yes.
That are related to real estate. So it's all related to real estate in terms of where the support will come from.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So right, the real estate connection, of course, is baked right into our name. And so yes, I do.
I got it.
Yes.
A little slow here.
Well, maybe
real angel. Got it.
Yes,
okay.
maybe we should be a little more obvious about it. But yes, it is, again, it's real estate professionals coming together to support, to actually promote and support local charities. So up until now, the primary vehicle for funding is through my state licensed real estate school. So a few years ago, I opened a real estate school, and yes, I wear a lot of different hats. I should probably step back. I'm a real estate attorney here on the South Shore. My firm, 3 attorneys, we do a lot of work here in Plymouth. And so in addition, about 3 years ago, I started a real estate school and to offer continuing education courses to local agents.
Right.
So for the first 2 years or so, I offered these classes for free. And just before one of the classes about 2 years ago, I was just, shooting the breeze with a couple of the local agents, and one of the agents said, "You should charge for these classes. They're great."
Now, isn't that funny? Normally you don't have somebody saying you should charge for something you're giving away for free.
Yes, please charge me.
Yeah,
okay?
really. Why aren't you charging me?
I'd come anyway. And
Maybe
that's
I'd come more often.
that's essentially what she said. And I said, well, you know what, that's not what the classes are really all about. I mean, there are a lot of benefits to me teaching these classes.
Sometimes you learn more when you teach than if you attend.
Well, you have to. You have to. There's an old expression.
I used to do a lot of instructing, yeah.
So you know that any material that you teach, you have to learn it absolutely thoroughly. So it helped for me to stay sharp in my profession. It also got me out of the office and, mixed it up for me. But really, when I gave my answer and I said, well, it's really not part of my business model to charge for these classes, then she replied, well, you don't have to keep the money. And then literally at that moment, the concept for Real Angels
so fabulous.
Foundation was born.
we're out of time. We're going to have you back because I know there's a lot more to talk about. Thanks so much for coming by.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Marilee.